Hey, what's up you guys? It's Jaded, and today we're taking a sneak peek at a new league champion, Rengar. These videos are going to be me going over the new champions that haven't come out yet, that are only on the PvE, showing you their skills, what they're all about, how they work, and of course giving you my impressions on them after playing them for a couple days. So let's get started. First thing we're going to be talking about are the skills, starting with the passive. This is essentially a gap closer for whenever you're in a bush. If your target's within range, you can right click them and use your basic attack to close the gap and you'll leap out. So it's really effective for top lane harass, as well as the jungler coming in through the top and bottom bushes, and occasionally you'll get a good one in the middle. However, it does have a range, so they have to come within that range in order to use it, and there's no cooldown whatsoever, so you can use it over and over and over. Now on top of this, Rengar also has a ferocity skill resource management rather than the typical mana usage. So basically what this means is you can use your Q once, get to the 5 points of ferocity, use Q again with the more powerful version, and it doesn't reset the cooldown of your Q. So you can think of it as a separate set of skills that you get to use when you get to that 5 points. Moving on to Savagery, Rengar's Q ability. This is probably the skill you want to start out with if you're jungling. It gives you the highest amount of damage of all your abilities, as well as giving you increased attack speed. And the ferocity bonus for this one is it deals even more, and then it doubles that attack speed bonus. So if you have it at 30%, it's going to give you 60%, and so on as you level the skill, that scales up. This skill has really devastating burst potential with the 5 stacks, using Q twice in a row, and then all your other abilities on top. So if you're laning versus a Rengar, make sure to not take that double Q harass if you can help it. Now moving on to Battle Roar, Rengar's W. This is an AoE, but it also gives you magic resist and armor for a 3-second duration. Now the ferocity bonus for this doesn't enhance its damage, but instead it heals you for 15% of your max health. So it's great for jungling and great for sustaining in lane. Now Rengar's E, Bullet Strike, is his only form of crowd control that he has. This is only a slow unless you have the 5 ferocity points, which then becomes a snare for 1 second. And then once that 1 second expires, they'll be slowed afterwards. Not only is this great for ganks, and the fact that it's not a skill shot means you're going to land it every time when a gank comes, but it's also really good harass for the laning phase. Now for Rengar's ultimate, a few seconds after you activate this skill, you become stealth and it grants you vision of nearby enemies. Not only that, but he gains movement speed and he rapidly generates ferocity while the stealth duration is active. So ideally, to get the most damage out of Rengar, you'll be looking to double Q somebody, use your Battle Roar, use your Bullet Strike, and once everything's on cooldown, you go into stealth, get your 5 ferocity stacks back up over a short duration, and then pop out if you need to close the gap, and then spam that Q twice again. So because of this, he has a lot of burst potential and a gap closer to boot while you're in stealth. So if they try to get away, you can catch up to them. His ultimate is also really amazing for getting away from ganks, as even if the enemy brings a pink ward or an oracles, you do have that increased movement speed to help you get away. Now moving on to something very interesting that they did with Rengar was they implemented an item only he can buy. No one else can see this item, no one else can purchase it, and the cool thing about it is just how the stacks work, because we've never seen anything like it before in League, but it is very similar to other snowball items. So it's very cheap, it's only 1,000 gold, it gives you 20 attack damage and 2 attack damage per level. The unique passive is Rengar collects trophies when killing champions and gains bonus effects based on how many of those trophies that you have. So a kill grants 2 trophies, an assist will grant 1, and if you die, you'll lose 1 trophy. And at the bottom here, you'll see at 2 trophies, 25 movement speed, at 6, 10 armor pen, 5% cooldown reduction. At 12, your leap actually gains more bonus range, so it's enhancing your abilities as well. And then at 18, which I personally haven't gotten to yet, it turns into an active that you can just gain 5 ferocity from, so potentially increasing your burst even more. So I really love the mechanics of this item. It's not like other snowball items where if you die, it really devastates you. Here you only lose a trophy, but if you got an assist before you died, it's just stalemate anyways. So it's actually quite easy to keep your stacks and to gain stacks, unless you're just getting absolutely dominated. I would love to see more items like this in the game get implemented for old champions, for new upcoming champions. I think it's really smart to do this. The game could definitely use some more item variation, and I even love the little touch of the item itself graphically changing as you get trophies. You get more the tooth gets bigger, you get more teeth on your necklace. So going over some of my impressions playing Rengar for a couple days, I really fell in love with the art style and the concept behind him. I think he fits the League universe really well. I love the fact that not only is he mana-less, which is really a big benefit for laning, but the fact that they also added in a resource to manage, giving it a little more skill cap. It's not like champions like Riven, like Katarina, who don't have a resource or just straight mana-less and based on cooldowns. So I really love that aspect of him. I personally think he feels better top than in the jungle. His ganks just aren't that good pre-6 in my opinion. You do have that ranged snare, but it's not enough in the early stages of the game sometimes. His passive is nice, it is a nice gap closer, but the problem is when you're trying to gank with it, it requires the enemy to wander over towards the brush that you happen to be sitting in. So it can be very hit or miss with just the movement of the enemy, but it's definitely great when chasing through the jungle and whatnot to catch up to people. Going over some of the gear I preferred, I think Triforce is a big one. Not definitely a must, but I think it's a really good item on him. It gives him movement speed and attack speed, which just feel really great on him. He scales really well with cooldown reduction because you're limited by just the cooldown on your skills. Cooldown reduction is really key. That's why blue buff is great on him, even though he's mana-less. It allows you to get the 5 stacks up faster and just clear the jungle faster as well. And this is why I also think Brutalizer and even the Ghost Blade, if you wanted to go for it, is not that bad of an item on him. Now I haven't tried going straight AD with him, Bloodthirster, IE, things like that. It definitely seems viable because of how good the AD ratio is on his abilities, and he kind of fills that role of assassin with the stealth mechanics, so I think it's definitely a possibility if you want to go that route to be effective. Maybe build him even similar to Riven, where you get the Bloodthirster, you get the Last Whisper, and you get the GA. But that covers everything with Rengar, guys. Thanks for checking out this sneak peek. I definitely love this champion, and hopefully you guys will too. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.